So, this week I finished the Gates of Hell trilogy and watched House by the Cemetery. And it was alright. Unfortunately though, nowhere near as good as the other two in the trilogy, The Beyond and City of the Living Dead. Not by a long shot. So, it's a 1981 Italian zombie horror film, directed of course by Lucio Fulci, and once again starring Catriona MacColl. If you like gore, bad dubbing, and a zombie or two, then I'd say you're in the right place.
Bob? Anne?
So where do the gates of hell open up this time then? Well, they don't really. No, the plot is about a family who move into a house where a colleague of the husband, who's a doctor, went crazy and murdered his family. Turns out the house is built on top of a cemetery, not by a cemetery, and the basement is inhabited by the late Dr. Freudstein, who is now a zombie, and definitely wins the award for most ridiculous name. And he sometimes kills people. Now the main problem is probably the pacing. There's a lot of long exposition scenes, and there's not much violence, and I think the zombie's only in it a handful of times. Luckily though, the violence and gore that we do get are really well made. There's some decent set design, although there are instances where, for example, the bookshelf has clearly got just pictures of books on it instead of actual books. There's little oddities like that thrown throughout. The music's great. The acting and dubbing for the most part is passable. Far too much screaming though. The worst part of that though is the children. The little boy is clearly being dubbed by a grown woman, and the little girl just cannot figure out her accent. What isn't stupid though is the zombie. The design is great, it's twisted and weird, and I think it looks amazing. And it cries like a child, which is really creepy.
I'm here. Behind you. On the other side of the street.
My name is Bob. My daddy's here to do some research.
Yeah, I know.
A scene of note, and one that is definitely in line with Fulci, is the bat scene. It goes on, and this bat's getting stabbed and stabbed, and it's very, very similar in pacing to the spider scene in The Beyond. Although slightly not as good as that, for this film, it's a real standout moment. Right, let's talk about this print. So the image quality is flat out bad. It looks like a bad film print and a VHS rip combined. Worst of all though, the image is cropped, meaning that you're losing either side of it. So things like credits and even the title are completely cut off in certain sections. And it means that the whole framing for the film is just thrown out the window. At first, I thought it was an issue with the TV settings, and I'm faffing around trying to figure out how to get it to look right. But no, it was the release. They just didn't care. And I think it might make this one of, if not the worst print that we've seen so far. Now for the case. All fine really. This bit looks a little bit weird, but that's all. The old incorrect logo's back again. No consistency. Also, this menu looks terrible. You can barely read the text with that font. let's see what we get on the disc. I think you all know by now what we bloody get on the disc. Sing along with me, everyone. We get stills, filmographies, chapter select, and trailers. And yes, the repeated trailers. We get Cannibal Holocaust, Psychic Killer, Mountain of the Cannibal Gods. What's that? No Shogun Assassin? Who'd have thought, eh? I really hope that they start mixing these up a little bit. I'm getting a little bored. Overall, though, House by the Cemetery. It was okay. It was okay. It suffers a little bit with its story and its pacing, but it makes up for it with its effects and its gore, even if there's not too much of it. But I mean, it's only 80 minutes, so it doesn't really overstay its welcome. If you're wanting a better quality version of it, which I'd recommend, Arrow have got you covered, and hopefully theirs fits on the screen properly. So let's have a look at the Gates of Hell trilogy overall. Would I recommend it? Definitely. Definitely. If you're a fan of gory films, horror films, Italian, badly dubbed, funny films, these are fantastic watches. They do unfortunately get worse in quality as they go along. I would definitely recommend these two. City of the Living Dead and The Beyond are fantastic. This one's okay as a little follow-up, a little aside. So, interesting watch this time, and next time it's going to get even more interesting. Because we're going to be taking a look at Island of Death. Her husband, an early riser, has an encounter with a young goat.